Well, just to go as far as we can, give these players a taste of what it's like to be in postseason and play for a tournament championship, and use this as a springboard, hopefully, to the off season and the next step, which is getting to the NCAA tournament. So, like you said, we have accomplished a lot that's on our list, and we still got more to do.
How important are these extra practices and just kind of having the girls around, especially with how much you bring back next year?
Yeah, that's a big deal, and just that's what we were talking about the team yesterday. Just have more time with them, and for me personally, I'm just not ready to be done with these guys. We've had a good run, and we still enjoy being together every day, and for me to work with them, and I still get the same feeling that I had in August with them. So it's exciting that we get to extend that a little bit longer.
So I guess for you, when did you find out, and I guess what were you kind of worried a little bit, or did you kind of have an idea of what was going to happen?
Yeah, we didn't have any clue, and you see, I watched the selection show, and then you just we think it's done, and honestly, I was getting ready to go to bed, and then we get the notice that we were in. So that was exciting, and it was a lot of fun on Sunday night.
I know that there were a lot of losses that kind of hurt y'all, but I guess did you feel like you did enough in those wins to kind of give you that, and did you at least have that confidence knowing that going into that selection?
Yeah,
show?
I really did. Our record is what it is, but if you go by some of the computer rankings, we didn't have any bad losses all year, and our only losses were to Power 5 schools, and rarely got swept, and we did a really nice job at home. So I felt like, like I said, we just didn't have any bad losses. We didn't have anything that you looked at our resume and said, man, they shouldn't have lost that match. So there was some that we probably would have liked to have won, and we dropped some 5-setters that I think a year from now we would be a little bit more mature and take care of. But for where we are now compared to last year, we're thrilled, and I think it was the right choice to get us in there.
And Coach, whenever you talk about, obviously it's been a tough schedule. The Big 12 is really good. It seems, it's going through it sometimes, it seems like, man, I wish this was easier. But now that you are in a postseason tournament, are you glad that you went through that kind of grind?
Yeah, I mean, we're as prepared as we can be, and I think physically we just get beat up throughout the year, and we were already thin at some spots anyway. So it's been really good to keep us kind of patched together, and players like Sarah who continue to overcome some things and find a way to get herself into the lineup. And even when we weren't going to play her at all on Saturday at Iowa State. That just wasn't part of the plan. And then half hour before the match, she's begging to get in the lineup, and so we just couldn't say no. And so she knows she's playing through some pain, and she's just going to have to suck it up and do it. But that's what she's all about. So there's a lot of those kind of nights where we're not quite 100%, but they're getting through it, and you put that on top of who is across the net from us, and yeah, it's a big challenge. So you put it all together, and I think we're ready for the playoffs.
And whenever you mentioned kind of the springboard for next season, as much as you obviously want to win, you're in, and for this team, you do want to win. You want to put out a good performance. But how much is it really getting those extra practices, getting the team ready for next season, and really pushing on beyond this for next year?
Yeah, I think we'll look at that in the spring and say, yeah, this really helped us get ready for the start of the off season. Right now, we're still trying to keep ourselves in season mode, and there's still things that we want to add to our game and improve on. But we're still treating this like we're in season, and so SMU is its own deal, and we hadn't seen them before, so we got to prepare for them just like we would a preseason team where we only get one shot at them. So it's good for the coaches to get back to a new team that we don't know that much about. But when we're in the gym right now, it's still continuing on the same process.
How different is it coaching with regards to, during the regular season there's another game next week, another game. Now it's win or go home mode for the rest of the year.
Yeah, there's a little urgency there, and I think these girls are all, they know what it's like to be in tournaments. They do this every single week in club ball, and so the idea of what a tournament is all about, that's old school for them. So they know exactly what they're up against, and so we just have to just take it truly just one match at a time. And what happens on the other side of our bracket, we can't control that, and we just want to get through that first round and see who's waiting for us.
Speaking of the first round, what do you know about SMU?
Well, good team. This is a group that was in the second round of the NCAA tournament last year. I watched them against A&M, and they looked really sharp, and a lot of the same players back. They're just a disciplined, well-coached team. They got a lot of pin-dominant offense, and teams that were, players that we're real familiar with because they've got a lot of DFW area kids, and so our girls are real familiar with them too. So it's going to be a fun match in that regard. There's going to be a lot of familiar faces across the net from us.
And what does the the NIVC bring to college volleyball that maybe has been missing the last 22 years?
Well, it's just like every sport. You have that group of 64 that's selected, and then there's another group right next to it that's really, really good and just didn't quite have the resume to get there. Or in some cases, they might have had a good case to get in and they just got snubbed. And so there's this opportunity for a second chance with some schools and some redemption and a chance to prove the committee wrong on some teams. And then there's programs like us that are still working their way up that gives us a chance to take that next step and see what the tournament's all about and help get them ready for the next one.
Oh, it was great. It was great to find out, or to see that we're actually making a difference here at Tech, I guess. Like, coming from being here for 3 years and finally making to a postseason is actually really good.
For you, I guess, how rewarding is it, especially with the type of season you all had? I know you had some losses that you like back, but just to know that, I guess the committee kind of felt like you all really did show something. I guess how rewarding is that for y'all?
Very rewarding. I think even though there were some wins or some losses that we probably should have pulled out, I think the committee finally saw that we're capable of doing it eventually.
So I guess once you found out last weekend that y'all were in it, I guess when did you start practicing? I guess what was the team attitude like?
It was good. It was good. It was like yesterday. It was like you can see that we're trying to learn more about SMU, what they do, their like their habits and what they do when they play and stuff like that.
Compared to prior seasons, I guess how is it different now? And I guess how important are these extra practices going to be for y'all?
Oh, they're very important. From prior seasons, I guess we've never really experienced like this. So when you're in like postseason, you don't really have any days off. So we have to make sure that we're like doing everything right when it comes to academics and in practice.
I guess now with SMU coming up, I guess what do y'all know about them, and I guess what do you feel y'all have to do to be successful against them?
I think we just have to play our game and play our system and make sure we're doing what we're supposed to in our jobs.
With all the girls that will be returning next year, I guess, I know you kind of already mentioned it, but I guess with all them returning, I guess how important are these practices just for chemistry and just kind of getting the girls used to each other as well a little bit more?
I think it's good that we will have a pretty good core coming in next year and that we can start we can start now to start building for next year.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Misty was the only player on the team that got all conference honors, right?
Yes.
Does that sort of light a fire on the rest of the team to know that maybe they were overlooked because of the type of talent that this team has?
Yeah, I think Missy really deserved that, and I really think anyone on our team could have gotten that, but I think it definitely does light a fire.
How proud are you just of her to be able to come in this year, set out a little bit because of an injury, and still be able to, get some well-deserved attention, like you said?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it was one interesting season, I guess you could say, going from playing to not playing to trying to work my way back. So I think it was a good learning experience, to get through all of that.